Good morning. Now on Sunrise, carjacking crash. 3 innocent people are in the hospital, 2 suspects on the loose. I'm Matt McCutcheon. The very latest coming up live.
New information about a fatal plane crash in Kentucky, what we're learning about the victims, and how the 7-year-old sole survivor found help nearby.
Rain has pushed in across central Indiana. It will continue. Pockets of heavy rainfall possible today. We'll see it changing over to snow. I'll have the timing on Sunrise.
From Indiana's news leader, Eyewitness News Sunrise starts now.
Good morning. Welcome to Sunrise. It's 8 o'clock now on your Saturday morning. I'm Naomi Peskovitz here with Kelly Green, and we have a lot to talk about in the weather world because there's rain, snow on the way, and a deep downturn in the temps.
That's right. We've been pretty quiet most of this week, but now we're seeing the changes moving in this morning, and that will help set the stage for the next several days. We do have a winter weather advisory still in effect for Benton County until 10 o'clock this morning, but most areas are seeing just rain at this hour. Live Doppler 13 radar showing just really widespread rain all across central Indiana. Where we are hearing some reports of some icy conditions are in extreme northern Indiana, South Bend, Elkhart, Fort Wayne, even Huntington having some reports of some icy conditions. So if you are traveling up US 31 or 69 today, do keep that in mind. This is a large system. It expands all the way to the deep south. We're seeing severe weather down to the deep south. We'll likely even see a few thunderstorms out of this system today, and then some major changes as we head into tomorrow. Certainly some foggy conditions right now with the rain. 35 degrees is the current air temperature. Winds out of the east-southeast at 7 miles per hour. Wind chill value of 29 degrees. It is currently 33 still in Lafayette, still hovering above that freezing mark, keeping rain only at this hour. It's now 34 in Richmond, 38 in Greensburg, and 40 degrees in Bloomington. Today we'll see temperatures climbing into the upper 40s. That is very mild for this time of year. Winds will be out of the south from 10 to 15 miles per hour. High of 48 degrees today. Falling temperatures tomorrow. I'll have all those details coming up on Sunrise.
Kelly, thank you. 3 people are hospitalized this morning while police are looking for 2 suspects in a carjacking that ended with a 3-car crash. Sunrise reporter Matt McCutcheon joins us live now to break it all down. Matt, good morning.
Naomi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. This is where some of the victims were brought, one of which includes a woman who became pinned under a car as a result of that crash. Everything breaking out around 11:30 last night. That's when police were reported a carjacking in that area. Officers then found the car at 25th and Keystone at the Shell gas station there. That is where officers went to pull over the 2 men, but they instead got in that car, drove down that area, and came to a crash around 33rd and Keystone. That car crashed into 2 other cars, sending 1 car on its side and sending 3 people to the hospital, all while police then continued their search for the 2 suspects who ran off.
They fled westbound from this location. They had a lead on the officers, so they weren't able to get close enough to them to set up a perimeter. So they fled west through the apartments here at Baltimore Terrace.
Police are working with the gas station, trying to get surveillance video from it to try to figure out a better description of the 2 suspects, which they don't have at this time. As for the 3 victims who were in those other 2 cars, they are in the hospital this morning, 1 in serious, the other 2 in stable condition. If you have any information, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers, and you can do so anonymously. Their phone number, 262-TIPS. Reporting live, Matt McCutcheon, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
Matt, thank you. And also, a man is in serious condition this morning after a hit-and-run accident on the city's east side. Police say the driver was arrested a few blocks away from the scene. They say he hit a man and a utility pole around 3 this morning before driving away. The pedestrian was taken to Eskenazi Hospital and is in serious condition. Also new this morning, Metro Police have tracked down a car that was stolen from an Indianapolis mother with her baby girl sitting in the back seat. The carjacking happened just after midnight yesterday in the 6800 block of North Michigan Road. The woman was wrapping up a purchase inside this Northwest Side gas station. She says she was gone for less than a minute, but before she returned, she saw a man driving away in her car with her 5-month-old daughter still inside. She went running out and screaming at the suspect's accomplice, who was in another vehicle, telling him to stop. Minutes later, the carjacker pulled over near a bus stop down the street and left the baby on the ground before taking off. That child is safe and sound this morning, but the terrifying ordeal is now prompting her mom to send an important warning to other parents.
My message to everybody that leaves their baby in the car while they're going in the gas station, it could be for anything, the quickest little thing, take your child out the car. I never in a million years thought that would happen to me, but it did. It happened to me, so I just want everybody to be aware. Don't leave your kids in the car with your keys in the ignition.
Well, police recovered her stolen car late last night near 33rd and Ralston. That's about 7 miles away from the gas station where it was taken. We are learning new information this morning about a small plane crash that killed 4 people in western Kentucky. A 7-year-old girl survived with only minor injuries. After the crash, she walked to a neighbor's home and called for help. The homeowner says she must have walked 3/4 of a mile through the woods and in the dark to reach his house. He says she told him that, quote, her mom and her dad were dead and she was in a plane crash and the plane was upside down. Then she asked if she could stay there. Police identified the other 2 victims as the girl's 9 and 14-year-old sister and cousin. The plane was traveling from Key West, Florida to Mount Vernon, Illinois. Federal officials say the pilot had reported some engine problems that went down just before the aircraft happened to fall. As of this morning, search crews had still not found the wreckage. And we're learning new information this morning about a deadly crash that claimed the lives of 2 MUNCIE sisters. Speed is suspected as a factor in that crash. This happened to our west in Vermilion County near the Indiana-Illinois line. 18-year-old Annie Clark and her sister Caroline died when the pickup they were riding in slammed into a building. Investigators believe the 18-year-old driver, Ethan Lee, lost control of the vehicle after traveling over a rise in the road. Lee hit an embankment, went airborne, and then crashed through the wall of a business. Lee was flown to an Indianapolis hospital with neck and internal injuries. A 3rd passenger, 18-year-old Braden Hollowell, also died at the scene. A woman inside that business was also hit by debris and is in the hospital this morning. Police say the victims in the vehicle were not wearing their seatbelts. We've also learned the 2 teen boys were both members of the North Vermilion High School football team that won the state championship this past November. A suspect is in the hospital this morning after a police chase ended in a crash on the east side. It ended on Ribble Avenue near 30th and Emerson late last night. Officers say they were forced to fire their weapons when that suspect tried to run them over. At the end of the chase, police say the suspect hit a utility pole, bringing down power lines. Police say the suspect tried to run away but was stopped by a police canine.
He murmured some utterances about kill me or something like that. We don't know, but that's what initial reports revealed.
Well, the suspect is in the hospital this morning with dog bite injuries. No officers were injured in the chase. The officer who fired his gun has been placed on temporary administrative leave. Kelly Green back now to talk about your day's forecast, and there's a lot to get to because there's rain now that will eventually turn into some snow.
Yes, we are looking at a very large winter system that we are on the mild side of it this morning, so it is bringing some rain and some pockets of heavy rain. Check out our WeatherBug network. Nashville, 1/2 inch of rain so far. In Bedford, 4,400 7-inch, 3,700 7-inch in Connorsville, and 3,800 7-inch in Shelbyville. More heavy rain likely. I'll have the timing of that as well as a changeover to snow coming up in your SkyTrak 13 forecast.
Well, did you feed your dog a lot of table scraps over the holidays? Up next, our pet vet is in studio with some important weight loss advice to keep your pets healthy. And mounting challenges for search crews in the Java Sea, what they're up against as they look for more victims and wreckage from the AirAsia crash. Welcome back. Chances are you enjoyed some delicious meals with your family over the holiday. I know I did. And if your pets were lucky, you may have tossed a few scraps their way. But how do we handle pets that have gained too much weight this past year? We're joined once again this morning by our pet vet, Dr. Jennifer Crow from Fisher's Veterinary Hospital. So many humans have a New Year's resolution. Let's lose some weight. Not a bad idea for your dog.
Not at all. A lot of them tend to pack on the pounds this time of year, just like we do.
Yeah, and so what are the best ways to prevent this?
So the big key is portion control. Use a measuring cup when you're going to measure your dog's food and measure out how much they're going to eat.
That sounds so simple, but it's not necessarily, because you got to make sure you're not also throwing the scraps, because you can't measure that.
Right. So if you know that they're being supplemented with lots of extra treats, or you share from the table, then cut back how much they're eating. Just like us, if you went to more than one Thanksgiving or Christmas meal, you can't eat a whole meal at every single one. So portion control for dogs is huge.
And then there's also the concept of what they're actually eating.
So yes, I mean, they should be eating a dog food that's going to give them their complete nutrition. Treats are fine, but split them. You know, they don't have to, just like a kid, eat a whole candy bar. You can split it into little pieces, and you can use things, healthy treats like veggies.
That's not a bad idea. Well, we always talk this time of year about getting to the gym. The gyms are packed with all of us trying to start working out again. You can work your dog out a little bit.
Sure can. And things that we should be doing. Put them on a leash and go for a walk.
Simple.
Take them and throw the ball. But not all pets can go out and exercise right away. I mean, just like us, if you haven't been working out, you may need to talk to your doctor first. But an easy way in our pets is controlled exercise. So do what they can do. And for some dogs, that means a trip to the mailbox and back, and that's as much as they can do. And then you work up to a little more and a little more to where they can, you know, they've got some stamina. They can finally go out and take a walk around the entire block just like you can.
Gosh, I wish that was all it took, right? To and from the mailbox, and you're good for the rest of the year. All right. Well,
start slow.
Exactly. Always start slow, and exercise is so important too, and again, that portion control issue as well. Dr. Crow, thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate it, and our pets do too. Thank you. Well, still ahead on Sunrise, a man left dangling from a Las Vegas zip line. How crews were able to get him down.
It is a rainy start this morning across central Indiana, but it's also bringing down visibility. We're down to 2.5 miles of visibility in Lafayette, 4 miles in Lebanon, 2.5 in Indy, and 1.3 miles of reduced visibility in Kokomo. Take it easy as you travel this morning. Widespread rain this morning, snow showers tomorrow. I'll have the details.
Welcome back. Crews will resume their search today for bodies and wreckage from the AirAsia jet crash. So far, 30 bodies have been found and 4 crash victims have been identified and returned to family members. Vessels from the U.S. and 3 other countries are part of the search for the 162 people who were on board that plane. Crews are also looking for the plane's wreckage and black boxes. The search for victims and the wreckage has been slowed, though, by high winds and heavy seas. Today, the second of 2 New York police officers killed in an ambush shooting will be remembered at a funeral. Officer Wenjin Liu will be honored during a ceremony at a funeral home in Brooklyn. Then tomorrow, a Chinese ceremony led by Buddhist monks will precede a traditional police ceremony. Liu and Officer Rafael Ramos, who was buried last week, were killed last month as they sat in their patrol car. The killings raised emotions in an already tense national debate over police conduct. Well, recent tension between police and the public is sparking a new effort to recognize their life-saving work. Law Enforcement Appreciation Day will be held next Friday, January 9th. It's a nationwide initiative to show support for officers and the risks they take to protect their communities. Organizers are asking people across the country to thank them for their service. They suggest wearing blue clothing that day or sharing a story on social media about a positive experience with police. A man stuck dangling from a Las Vegas zip line is back on the ground after being rescued by firefighters. He was hanging about 100 feet above a street there for nearly an hour. Firefighters rescued the rider from Slotzilla shortly after 3 yesterday afternoon. Crews had to use a bucket to reach the man, who was not injured in that incident. Although I cannot imagine hanging up there for a full hour just waiting to be rescued. Sheesh.
Yeah, even if you're not afraid of heights, it just would be very freaky.
Yeah, especially if you're up there for so long. Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're looking at the weather today, it's going to be cold, but not as cold as we will see.
Yes, it's actually going to be pretty mild for this time of year today. And the good news is the threat of the freezing rain has really ended at this hour. So that is some good news, because that was something even a week ago we were looking at, the threat of freezing rain, and that ice accumulation can be nasty, which is what we're seeing in extreme northern Indiana right now. Reports of icy conditions in Fort Wayne, South Bend, Elkhart, even Huntington. But right now, widespread rain all across central Indiana. So that is definitely some good news. But we do expect to see this rain to continue throughout the day today. This is a large winter storm system, a lot of heavy rainfall pushing in towards central Indiana, and that will really pick up as we head into the late hours this morning into the afternoon. In fact, we may even have a few rumbles of thunder. Here's a look from our Morris Reservoir camera in Cicero. It's a little bit foggy out there, and the lake is pretty quiet at this hour, but I do think that we'll start to see a little bit breezier winds picking up this afternoon. Here's a look in Nashville, Brown County. Definitely a winter scene here, but we have just some wet roads across the area, and the rain will continue. It's currently 35 degrees, winds out of the east-southeast at 7 miles per hour, and we do have reduced visibility down to 1.5 miles in Indianapolis. It is currently 35 in Indy, 34 in Kokomo, 34 degrees now in Lafayette, and 34 degrees in Richmond. And check out our warmer conditions down in Bloomington, 40 degrees, 40 in Seymour. Now, FUTURETRAK 13 does keep the rain across the area throughout the morning hours. So we'll see pockets of heavy rainfall, especially along and south of I-70 today, but widespread rain all throughout the afternoon. It will start to thin out as we head into the early hours this evening, but it will still be around. So we're talking drizzle this evening. Temperatures today climbing to 48 degrees. Winds will be out of the south from 5 to 15 miles per hour later this afternoon. Now, as we head into the evening, the rain sticks around. It'll be more of a drizzle. Temperatures will fall into the mid-30s. So it really will be a mild start tomorrow morning. But as we look at the rainfall, we could see some heavy rainfall by the time it's all said and done tomorrow morning. Anywhere from 1 inch, possibly 1 to 2 inches along and south of I-70. So certainly some ponding on the roadways could be an issue. Keep that in mind. Temperatures will be falling throughout the day on Sunday. That will allow rain to change over to some snow showers by afternoon. So temperatures will fall into the mid-20s by late afternoon. If you're heading to the Colts game tomorrow at Lucas Oil, definitely bring the winter coat. By afternoon, as you're heading out, temperatures will be down into the mid-20s, and we will likely see a few snow showers. Blustery conditions for wind chill values late Sunday night into Monday running below 0. Here's a look at your SkyTrack 13 forecast. High of 48 degrees today, 25 as temperatures tumble throughout the day on Sunday, and then bitter cold conditions on Monday with a high of only 16 degrees. More snow pushes in late Monday night into Tuesday. Naomi?
Kelly, thank you. Well, still next on Sunrise, a special connection. Why a man diagnosed with a debilitating disease as a child is now helping a local boy with his own battle. And an Indianapolis officer says he was just doing his job when he ran into a burning building. Hear his incredible account of the heroic rescue. That's next. Welcome back. Time now 8:24. And last week we introduced you to little Jordan McClin as his dream came true at the Indianapolis Fire Department. The 5-year-old boy is battling a fatal form of muscular dystrophy, but he was hired on as an honorary firefighter on Christmas. The story inspired all of us, but it meant even more to a man living near Middletown, Indiana.
Oh, yay, I have email. Look at that.
At 29 years old, Jason Wheatley felt connected to this little 5-year-old watching his story on TV.
So you think you could help us clean a firehouse every day?
Yeah.
Jason identified with Jordan's optimism and fearlessness.
The fact that he was all gung-ho about going in there, you know, he just reminded me of me at that age, I guess.
Like Jordan, Jason was also diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy as a young child. A deadly disease, it almost always attacks boys.
And it attacks all muscles of the body. It starts low at the lower extremities and starts to work its way up.
Though Jason is bedridden now and on a ventilator, he vowed he'd make it to at least his next birthday in February.
I've always said that I wanted to see 30, and I'm going to, so.
So after seeing Jordan's story, Jason wanted to offer these words of advice to his young friend from afar.
One day at a time, really, and keep a positive attitude. You know, if he can develop the same attitude that I've got, he'll be fine.
Jason also has something else in common with little Jordan. he loves the fire service.
They cut up with me and treated me like everybody else, and it meant the world to me. It really did.
Jason, who grew up in Kokomo, grew close to the department there. Now he admires firefighters so much that he spends hours on Facebook, Twitter, and tending to his Kokomo Fire fan page.
Firefighters really don't like the H word, but they really are heroes because, I mean, that little boy looks up to them, and so do I. You know, not only because of what they do to raise money for muscular dystrophy, but the fact that they put their lives on the line every day for people.
And get more of us talking about a cure.
And if it does come before I pass on, it'll probably be too late for me. But if it helps future generations, that's all I care about.
And to visit Jason's Kokomo Fire Fan website, Facebook, or Twitter account, we've added links to WTHR.com. We posted a link there too, so you can learn more about Duchenne muscular dystrophy. All of that is under Hot Topics. Well, it is a chilly, rainy morning, but hundreds will enjoy the outdoors today. Coming up in the next half hour of Sunrise, we'll take you to the Polar Bear Pedal.
And it is a mild start this morning with temperatures in the mid-30s, and we do have rainy conditions as well. I'll have all the details coming up in your SKYTRAK 13 forecast.
Police are on the lookout for an armed robber who held up a Franklin gas station. Coming up, the video that police hope will help identify the suspect. An Indianapolis officer says he was just doing his job when he ran into a burning building. Hear his incredible account of the heroic rescue.
A rainy start across central Indiana. The good news is temperatures are running above the freezing mark right now, so it's just rain, but we are tracking snow and bitter cold temperatures. I'll have the details on Sunrise.
From Indiana's news leader, Eyewitness News at Sunrise continues.
Good morning and welcome back to Sunrise. Time now 8:30 on your Saturday morning. I'm Naomi Peskovitz. Kelly Green is joining me as well. Today we're talking about rain that will change to very, very cold temperatures.
It is going to be blustery on Monday. So all these changes due to the system that's pushing in, that is starting off on the mild side. We're on the front side of this system. We do have a winter weather advisory still in effect for Benton County this morning until 10 o'clock this morning. Right now, though, temperatures running above the freezing mark, so that is keeping this a rain-only event at this hour. In fact, we've actually had a few lightning storms strikes across central Indiana. This area seeing more of some stormy conditions, some lightning through here, through Becknell, Linton, Sullivan, Carlisle, Oaktown, and a little bit heavier rainfall in our south central viewing area. So keep that in mind today. Currently, it is a bit foggy out there. 35 is the current temperature, and our breezes are out of the east-southeast at 6 miles per hour. It's currently 34 in Lafayette, 38 degrees in Greensburg, 36 in Muncie, 40 in Seymour, and 40 degrees in Bloomington. So very mild start, running above where we normally are for this time of year as far as air temperature goes for afternoon highs. But more rain will push in during the 9 o'clock hour. We do expect to see more widespread heavy rainfall throughout the early afternoon, and then it will start to slow down a bit. It'll still be around, though. We'll see drizzle throughout the evening hours as well. Temperatures, though, will be very mild thanks to a southwesterly breeze picking up from 5 to 15 miles per hour. Temperatures will climb to 48 degrees this afternoon, running about 10 degrees above average. But we are tracking bitter cold conditions, some snow showers to wrap up your weekend, as well as a clipper system that will bring another chance of snow during the work week. I'll have all those details coming up in your SKYTRAK 13 forecast.
Kelly, thank you. New on Sunrise, sheriff's deputies in Greene County are looking for an 18-year-old woman last seen on New Year's Eve. They tell us Marina Bolter is 5'3" with blonde hair and blue eyes. Her coworkers reported her missing when she did not show up for work in Bloomfield, Indiana. She was last seen in the parking lot of the Bloomfield IGA. If you know anything about where she might be, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers or the Greene County Sheriff's Department. Investigators say a body discovered in a Sullivan County cornfield is that of a local woman who was 7 months pregnant. Police used dental records to identify the victim as 20-year-old Tiffany Adams. Her death has been ruled a homicide. A farmer harvesting his field found the woman on Tuesday. This was nearly 2 months after her family had reported her missing. Tiffany was last seen November 5th, walking just a block down the road to her mother's house. Detectives are now asking anyone with information on what may have happened the day of her disappearance to please come forward. Police in Franklin are looking for the armed robber who held up a Franklin gas station. The whole crime caught on camera. You can see it here. The suspect burst in, weapon in hand, and points what looks like either a rifle or a shotgun at the cashier's head, demanding money.
He just put the gun on him and he said, "Give me all money. I need all money, give me money." And he was scared and he just ran over behind this cigarette rack and he told him, "I will shoot you behind the rack. I will come across the counter. Give me all money if you want to, just give me money."
Well, the robber got away with stolen cash, running out then back in to pick up what he dropped. Investigators believe the same man was driving that stolen SUV. They found it totaled at the I-65 Franklin interchange. Now, police searched for hours but couldn't find the man. This morning, they're looking for a teenager, a white male dressed in black, injured, bleeding, and likely dangerous. Police have tracked down one of the cars suspected in a deadly hit and run on New Year's Eve. It happened in the 4000 block of North Franklin Road at about 9 o'clock on Wednesday night. A family member says victim James Ragland was crossing the street to meet a friend coming to pick him up. Just before the friend arrived, 2 cars hit Ragland, then took off.
Shame on you. Leave a person like that. That's just, it's not right. It's just not right. I don't know what else to say.
Again, police tracked down one of those cars last night, and the driver is cooperating with police. Officers are still looking for the second car involved, an older model Ford Explorer. Court documents reveal new disturbing allegations in the case of a candy store owner accused of molestation. William Gilliland of Pendleton is out of jail this morning after his arrest earlier this week. He faces several charges of child molestation and possession of child pornography. In the court documents, at least 5 alleged victims, including a family member, accused Gilliland of touching them. It could be days before we learn an official cause for a fire in Lebanon that killed a mother of 3. 29-year-old Leslie Hawkins died Thursday when a fire broke out inside an older home that's divided into 2 apartments. Investigators say the unit did have smoke detectors, but no batteries. Now they're looking into whether her apartment had a working furnace. Neighbors who live downstairs say they often cranked up their own heat to help keep Hawkins' apartment warm.
I was aware of it and she had told me about it, so I mean the only thing I could do to help her out was keep my heat higher. So I just turned my heat up as high as I could get it to help them out up there. which so that way she didn't have to run the space heater.
Well, the heating sources in this old home are still under investigation. The woman's children were not home during the fire. They are now staying with relatives. Well, firefighters are used to rushing into a burning home to save people, but it's rare that a police officer is pressed into that situation. Eyewitness News anchor Scott Swan spoke with a cop who saw a house on fire, heard screams, and went inside without any protective gear.
The fire broke out around 2 a.m. on New Year's Day. Before fire crews got on the scene, police officers arrived and heard screams.
It was somebody yelling for help. We don't know who's in there. It doesn't matter who's in there.
The house was fully engulfed when Officer Haddon ran inside.
The whole front of the house, the door that Gary went into, I can't believe he went into it. That whole side was on fire and flames were coming. The embers were coming back out of the house. Smoke was barreling off.
I got my flashlight out, and I know he could see my light. He wouldn't be able to see me because I couldn't see him. He was down on the floor, and he said, just come to my voice. So he kept yelling until I could find him. I found him on the floor. I was able to pick him up, put him up under my arm, and take him out of the house.
With smoke and flames all around him and embers falling and burning his coat, Officer Haddon relied on the voices of 2 other officers to escape.
It was hard to see coming out of the house. That's where Officer Thorland and Copeland helped me out because they were yelling my name so I could find a way back out of the house again.
Gary got the guy right past the front door as stuff was flying and fire was flying, and then they both, I don't know, tripped or fell, at which time Officer Copeland grabbed Officer Haddon and took him out, and I took the victim off the porch.
The officers say they're uncomfortable with being called heroes, saying it's what police do every day.
Regardless of who needs our help, we're going to go help them.
You know, if it wasn't for him running that burning house, things would have been different.
Well, that was Scott Swan reporting. The 25-year-old man those officers saved was last listed in serious condition at the hospital. Kelly Green back now, and we are talking about cold weather, some rain today, and eventually some snow.
That's right. Major changes move in this weekend. We're starting off pretty mild this morning, though. Taking a look at our WeatherBug Network temperatures, 37 in Trafalgar, 33 in Lafayette, 34 in Connorsville, and 39 degrees in Greensburg. A decent warm up today, but bitter cold conditions arrive this weekend. I'll have the details coming up on Sunrise.
And it is, of course, a chilly, rainy morning, but hundreds will enjoy the outdoors today. Next on Sunrise, we'll take you live to the Polar Bear Pedal. Welcome back. More than 1,000 cyclists are expected downtown this morning for the annual Polar Bear Pedal. And Scott Manning joins us live now from City Market downtown, where the event gets started here in a little bit more than an hour. Scott, good morning to you.
Good morning.
How's the weather? Most important question of the day.
Well, the most important thing, I think, is that we missed that freezing rain and ice that was kind of predicted to fall overnight. We didn't get that, thankfully, so it's a little bit soggy downtown this morning, but overall we're in pretty good shape, considering it's a bike ride in the first Saturday in January.
Exactly. Well, nice. That's good to hear. And I know you already have several hundred people registered, but you can still sign up. Is that right?
Absolutely. We have about 1,000 people that have registered online, but you know, if you decide at the last minute that you want to come down and join us, we do walk-up registration. So, like I said, it's a little bit wet, but it's still a good day for bike rides. So, if you want, come on down and join us. Mayor Ballard will be here. This is one of 3 bike rides that he does, and it's one of our most popular, believe it or not. So, it's a lot of fun, and we encourage anybody that's interested to come on down.
And Scott, how does this highlight Indianapolis as a cycling community? Most people might not think of it that way, but really this showcases how many cyclists we do have.
It does. I mean, this is one of, as I said, 3 bike rides that Mayor Ballard leads throughout the year. We have, in the past 3 years, we've had over 1,000 cyclists participate, which is awesome. And I think one of the unique things about these rides is that it gives people a chance to experience some of the bicycle network that we have in Indianapolis that they may or may not have seen before. We've added 80 miles of bike lanes here in Indy over the past 5 years, and our network's continuing to grow. We're adding miles of bike lanes, miles of trails, and folks will see that on the ride today. They'll be riding along the Cultural Trail during part of the route, or along bike lanes on New York and Michigan Street here downtown. They'll see the Pleasant Run Greenway. They'll see one of the most unique parts of our bicycling network, which is the Shelby Street Cycle Track, which runs through Fountain Square. And that's a protected facility. So that's great because it separates the cyclists from the cars. It's a really safe, comfortable place to ride. It's a great place for families to ride. So just on a 9-mile ride today, Naomi, folks are going to get to see a lot of what Indy has to offer for bicyclists.
Yeah, and Scott, we certainly hope that it stays dry out there at least for a couple more hours so folks can really enjoy all the miles of cycling lanes that we do have in our city. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Kelly Green here now to talk about what those cyclists can expect here starting at 10 o'clock.
Well, it looks like the rain's actually going to start ramping back up again, unfortunately for those riders. But, you know, they'll tough it out, I think. Kind of a cool event so that they can learn some new trails across downtown Indianapolis. But we are going to be dealing with rain really throughout the day today, especially this morning into the afternoon. It'll start to taper off late tonight. But as you can see on live Doppler 13 radar, pretty widespread all across central Indiana. This is a large system, and it's going to bring in some pockets of heavier rainfall as we head into the late morning hours. And this system expands all the way to the deep south. This is a strong area of low pressure that will really bring in some major changes for this weekend. Here's a look at rain since midnight. Shelbyville, almost 4/10 of an inch, over 3/10 of an inch in Versailles, 2,800 of an inch in Plainfield, and over a half an inch so far in Nashville. Now here's Noblesville. It is definitely a cloudy look across the area. Visibility has been reduced in some locations down to 1.7 miles in Indianapolis, 1.7 in Kokomo, 1.5 in Peru, and 1.3 in Fort Wayne, where they are dealing with some freezing rain issues, some ice accumulations. If you're heading towards South Bend, Elkhart, Fort Wayne, definitely give yourself some time to travel up there. It is definitely pretty nasty. Currently 35 degrees is the current temperature in Indianapolis, with winds out of the east-southeast at 6 miles per hour. Currently 34 in Lafayette. It's 39 in Greensburg. Chillier in Marion at 33 and 35 in Richmond. So just rain at this hour. We'll see the rain continuing to ramp up as we head into the later morning hours, and this will even bring us a few isolated thunderstorms. Some rumbles of thunder already have taken place this morning. It will continue into the afternoon. Notice it does taper off and lighten up quite a bit, although it'll still be light drizzle throughout the late afternoon into the evening. So temperatures today will respond to the southwesterly breeze of 5 to 15 miles per hour with a high of 48 degrees. That's unseasonably mild. But as we head into the overnight, the rain sticks around and temperatures will begin to fall. They'll only fall into the mid-30s tomorrow morning, but they'll continue to crash throughout the rest of the day. Check this out. As we head into the later hours on Sunday morning and then into the afternoon, temperatures will continue to fall as that much colder air on the backside of the system, the cold front, pushes through. Temperatures will be falling into the upper 20s. We'll see light rain changing over to some light snow, and temperatures will be falling into the mid-20s by late afternoon. So if you're heading to the Bengals Colts game tomorrow at Lucas Oil Stadium, keep in mind falling temperatures. Rain will change over to some light snow. We may even see some light snow accumulations by tomorrow evening. Temperatures today, though, climbing to 48 degrees, down to 39 tomorrow morning, and then continuing to fall down to 25 Sunday afternoon. And check this out, down to 8 degrees early Monday morning. It will be a blustery Monday with wind chill values running below zero, high of 16 Monday afternoon. We are tracking a clipper system that will push in late Monday night, bringing some snow showers Monday night into Tuesday. Naomi?
Kelly, thank you. And road crews this weekend are staying ahead of this winter weather threat. Here in Indianapolis, DPW called in a crew of 90 Indy Snow Force drivers. They monitored conditions overnight and put down salt as needed to keep the city's major roadways and secondary streets clear of any slick spots. INDOT tells us they're also prepared for the freezing rain heading our way. They have employees on call around the clock, ready to pre-treat the interstates and the highways. And we're keeping you ahead of all the changes outside with our SKYTRAK 13 weather app. It's a free download for your Apple or Android device, and you have instant access to live Doppler 13 radar, up-to-the-minute conditions, and the 7-day forecast. A new tradition starts this weekend for the Indiana State Fair Queen. This is the first year the pageant will take place in January. Organizers moved the event from August so participants can have more time to prepare and can fully concentrate on the beginning of the school year. This year, 87 county queens will compete for the title of Miss Indiana State Fair. Final judging and crowning starts at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon at the Indiana Farmers Coliseum. And we're continuing to keep an eye on those low gas prices for you. We spotted regular gas for $1.79 a gallon at the Phillips 66 station in Speedway. You can also track gas prices across the city through our website. You can find a link under Hot Topics at WTHR.com. Well, these days, doctors commonly use metal rods and plates to help folks with all types of injuries. But for a man from Western Illinois, the discovery of a metal rod signaled a turn to a traumatic event that happened 51 years ago. Gary Sith has the story.
This is a close-up here.
At a time of year when most are taking care of holiday business, Art and Betty Lampett have been taking care of unfinished business from back in 1963.
It was a god-awful accident, and, you know, it was not very probable that somebody would come through something like that, they figured.
Art was driving on bald tires in his 63 T-Bird. He hydroplaned in the rain on a curve into a semi.
Yeah, I was reported being dead by one of the radio stations. Glass in the forearm, 4 or 5 ribs, hip busted out in the backside.
Art spent 8 weeks in a body cast and even had a tracheotomy to help him breathe easier. Art and Betty met 6 months later.
He was pathetically thin and had this very bad limp.
Because of all his injuries, doctors didn't notice the metal turn signal from the T-Bird had embedded into his arm.
I was probably coming forward and it came in that way.
15 years ago, Art discovered there was something in his arm because of a metal detector. But since it didn't bother him, his doctor said leave it alone. Then, in early December, it started to be a problem. Doctors removed the 7-inch rod the last day of 2014.
I was amazed to see how corroded it was. I mean, it's almost got all the chrome off of it.
And now that it's out...
What are you going to do with it then?
Well, I don't know. I thought I was going to maybe try to make a keychain out of it, but as awful as it looks, I don't know.
Well, Art had the rod removed on Wednesday, but the surgery hasn't put the brakes on his busy life. He was out working on one of his rental properties just yesterday morning. Well, coming up next in sports, a football player with ties to Central Indiana is headed to the national championship. Coming up, which high school team he played for.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jason Speltz. Coming up, the Indiana Pacers picking up a much-needed win on the road. Highlights from their game against the Milwaukee Bucks. And how close is Reggie Wayne to hanging up the cleats? Find out coming up in sports.
I'm Gary Dick on location with a preview of what's coming up on this week's show. We are on the road in the quaint southwest Indiana community of Huntingburg, a city that wants to become a tourist destination. Why folks here are betting on a movie and baseball to get people to visit. Plus, Huntingburg's largest employer is a company steeped in the rich furniture making tradition and strong German heritage of southern Indiana. We'll take you inside family-owned OFS brands. Plus, did you know one of America's most popular soft drinks is made right here in Indiana? Dad's Root Beer got its start in Chicago, but is now headquartered and bottled in the Hoosier State. We'll let you know how that well-known brand continues to grow here. And in the 90s, 3 films were made right here in Huntingburg, but times have changed. We'll have perspective on the reasons why and tell you about efforts to make Indiana more movie-friendly. All of those stories and a lot more coming up Sunday morning at 11. Right here on Channel 13.
Just wait till we get healthy. Good morning, Pacer fans. You've been making that chant for the last 2.5 months as the devastated lineup struggled to get wins for your blue and gold. But that all changed last week with the return of George Hill. Indiana won 3 out of their 5 games. That healthy streak coming to an end last night. Indiana beginning a 4-game roadie without G. Hill. A sore groin that calls Donald Sloan in for the start, getting the bank. Well, the bank's open at midnight. Keep in mind they're playing Central Time Zone. Donald Sloan, big night for him. That would give Indiana Pacers a lead. C.J. Miles would have a game-high 22 off the bench, 6 of 9 from 3. The Pacers hold on for their win, their second in a row, 94-91.
Every win's important. I mean, we just out here fighting. We know we got a chance, and we buckle down, taking one game at a time. And it's always a chance for to get there. I mean, no offense to any other teams, but we know what the records are like in the East, and we know that we can dig out of this hole, especially with guys getting back healthy. We were a little short-handed tonight, but they're not lasting injuries, so we'll be fine.
Butler University removing the interim title from head coach Chris Holtman, new head coach Chris Holtman. He took over the program after the former coach Brandon Miller took a medical leave of absence earlier this season. During his trial run, Holtman led the Dogs to a top 25 ranking. Butler 10-4 in the season. They visit St. John's this afternoon. Tip-off set for 4. The city of Indianapolis has a love affair with Reggie. For nearly 2 decades, fans have chanted the name. A tradition which began with Reggie Miller at Market Square Arena could come to an end this weekend with Reggie Wayne at Lucas Oil Stadium. The 36-year-old is in the final year of his contract, and nagging injuries have greatly affected his production this season. Still, the 14-year veteran has a major presence in South Coast locker room. T.Y. Hilton leads the team in receptions, but he says he cannot continue to lead without Reggie Wayne.
I'm not going to let him leave me right now, so yeah. I have a talk with him, whenever that time comes. I told him, talk to your family, talk to your kids, but when you finish with that, make sure you come talk to me. So our relationship is really growing. So I probably have a say so with that.
Since day one, since 2001, the first day I hit the Indiana state line, everybody here has embraced me. They've supported me. Whether it was good or bad, and I appreciate that. So I feel like, my way of giving back is just being loyal.
There are freezing temperatures making their way into the area this weekend and later this week. The Indiana Farmers Coliseum, well, it's already freezing there. Last night, the field hosting Toledo. Second period, take a look at Garrett Bembridge. Deflects the puck off his shoulder. His 10th goal of the season. The Toledo Wiley scored 8 last night. The field losing at 8-1. Back on home ice tonight as they host Reading. That's a look at sports. I'm Jason Spells. Everyone, I hope you have a great Saturday.
Jason, thank you. And by now, Ohio State and Oregon will play for the National College Football Championship. So we checked the rosters of both teams and found one player from Central Indiana. Terry McLaurin played at Cathedral High School. Number 25 was a star receiver for the Fighting Irish. McLaurin is now a freshman for the Buckeyes. He won 4 state championships at Cathedral and is now going to his first national championship. Well, new information about a fatal plane crash in Kentucky, what we're learning about the victims, and how the 7-year-old sole survivor found help nearby.